and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. So I have been tagged in the book acquiring tag by Katie over at Introverted Reader. I have definitely been more planned this year. Usually it's just impulse buys, but because I've been doing my I seriously need to finish this project this year, I have been actively trying to purchase more sensibly and try and purchase books further in series that I am already collecting. So usually impulse, but I am trying to be a bit more planned this year. I obviously consume a huge amount of BookTube and so if I watch one of my favourite booktubers and they recommend a book to me that they are enjoying and I think sounds good, I'll often say, oh, like, that sounds good, and if they say to me, oh, I think that you'll like it, then it goes straight on to the wish list. So I have two Amazon wish lists. I have one Amazon wish list for books that I just add to that I fancy reading, and then I have a separate Amazon wish list for books that are a series that I need to continue to buy. If it is a series that I have started, then I will move the sequels onto my main book wish list, which is public, and keep the rest of them on the one that is private for book series that I need to continue buying. But I will go by other people's recommendations. If there's a book that is getting like quite a lot of love on BookTube, then I will check it out and add it to my wish list. I am pretty easily swayed, to be honest, so it doesn't really take a lot for somebody to make me want to read or buy a book, but that is how my lists are organised, and that's just what makes sense to my brain, so that's how we do it. So I don't have a preference whether it is online or in person, but I do make an effort to try and purchase majority of my books as used books, just because it is a wee bit better for the environment. So I go to charity shops. Me and Simon do charity shop book hauls semi-regular, and we will pick up books, and obviously they are a bit cheaper than what they would be if we were purchasing them brand new, and because we're getting them from a charity shop, we're helping the environment and our money is going towards a good cause, and so I don't mind that too much. However, if it is an indie author, then I will always purchase new, and I will never buy a used book from an indie author, because I really want to make an effort to support that author, and that is in keeping with my views on positive consumerism, which I speak about all the time on the channel. If I am purchasing a book from Amazon, then I always try to purchase it used. Again, unless it is an indie author, then I will publish it. I will not. I will purchase it new. I know that there are a lot of indie authors that use Amazon as like their printer, and so I can only purchase it through Amazon. However, I obviously like to try and support smaller indie bookshops as well. The local bookshop to me that I love is Abbey Books, which just so happens to be a small used bookshop. Noticing a theme here, and I will try to go there every single time that I am in Paisley and purchase a couple of books from them. In terms of physical books or audio, I do both. I have a Scribd subscription, and then I also have an Audible subscription where I get 2 credits from them a month, and I really like doing a physical book and having it audio, so I do a bit of both. And I know that that is terrible because I am technically purchasing all my books twice, but then the thing for me is if I try to buy most of my books used, because these physically harm the planet, then I am comfortable with choosing to support an author by also purchasing their audiobook, and then making sure that they're getting some of that money, and that sort of squares it away with me by making sure that I'm doing what I can for the planet, but that I am also supporting authors and, you know, the book industry, because if I don't support authors, people will only write books, and then I will only have a hobby. So aye, that is how I square it away in my head, that I will purchase 2 copies of the same book, because I'm choosing to do what is right for me as a consumer and my carbon footprint and the planet, and then I'm choosing to do what I feel is right by authors. Does that make sense? Probably no. I think that the Wee Free Libraries are an absolutely cracking idea. When we went on honeymoon to a place called Appin, which is like right up the top in north of Scotland, miles away from anything else. And where we stayed in Appin, you're basically like at the bottom of the mountain, and then like there's a big long windy road right up to the top of the mountain, and at the top of the mountain there's like a B&B and a restaurant and the only shop in the entire town. And up there they had also transformed one of their phone boxes into a little free library, and me and Simon took a book away from there as, you know, like a wee honeymoon memento, which we thought was adorable. And I think they are so cute, and I would love to see more of them out and about. However, living in Scotland, they would be ripe for graffiti, and you'd probably find some stuff in there that was not free books. So I don't feel like feasibly we could date here, because the public didn't have any respect, and they would just be trashed and graffitied with like smell your maw and things like that. People would do like shites in them, and it just wouldn't be good. So I don't feel like it's something that we could do here. I have never been to one here other than the one, like I was saying, that was up the north of Scotland. So I think that they are a great idea, and I think it's good to encourage people who maybe can't always afford to purchase themselves books, for it to be a way that they can take one that they've read and swap it for one that they maybe haven't. And I would love for that to be more accessible across the board. I just don't think that it's really feasible here, although I would like it to be. I share all of the books that I acquire through hauls on the channel. I don't keep a diary or a log of any of the books that I purchase, although I have spoken about it before on the channel that because me and Simon have such a large collection of books, we're over the 2,000 mark now, that we pay for library software, and so we scan in all of the books that we haul and it adds it instantly into a catalogue, and then through that catalogue we're able to keep track of how much your library is in total. We're able to keep track of what we've purchased, so that if we're out and about and we're swithering about a book, because obviously like we've got that many that it can be difficult to remember, have I bought this or have I just looked at it before? So we've got apps on our phone that syncs to our catalogue, so we can have a look to see if we own that book or not. And then also we've got a functionality through it where we can section it by series, which is particularly helpful for me. So if there's a particular series that I am reading, I can check the catalogue to see if I own all of that series and if I need to purchase more books towards that. I really like looking at all the books that I haven't read yet. When me and Simon come through to the library to read, there's just something so exciting to me that there are all these books on the shelves that are like wee potential adventures waiting to happen, and I just love that. I like having a lot of books to read because I'm such a mood reader, so if I had like a small limited amount of books, chances are I'm not going to be interested in any of the books, whereas because I've got quite a large volume of books that I haven't read yet, there are books here that I am so excited to get to. And I really like coming through, like once I've finished a book and trying to decide what I want to read next and scouring the shelves, and it really excites me. I mean, me and Simon have amassed our own personal library, and so I love that there are so many books here that I haven't read, and I know that that stresses some people out and they're like, oh, get away from me. And I know that there are so many people who are trying to downsize their physical TBR, and while I totally respect that for you, it's just not how I personally enjoy to read. But I find it so exciting. My physical TBR is wild. Let me find out how many it is. So currently on my shelves I have 482 books that I would like to read, which might stress people out. However, I read or have been reading on average about 100 books a year for the last year. I was going to say a couple of years, but that's a lie. But my reading has increased and increased and increased. So last year I read 100 books. I am aiming for 80 this year because some of the books I am planning to read are chonkers. However, I am already like more than halfway through that goal, and it is only halfway through the year, so there is a potential to up that again to potentially 100. So if I'm reading on average 100 books a year, then I really only have books to last me the next 4.5 years. And I'm planning to be alive that long, so that doesn't stress me out at all. It just means I'm good for books, which means it doesn't mean that I will only buy any more, because I will, but I am fairly comfortable adding to my library as long as I feel like it is still reasonable that I am going to get through and I am going to read those books, if that makes sense. Well, I've sort of just answered that, haven't I? I think that if I feel it is reasonable that I would read that amount of books in the next few years, then I don't feel like it is an unreasonable amount of books to own. I mean, me and Simon are both quite avid collectors. We collect a lot. We collect a lot of books. We collect a lot of DVDs and box sets. We both collect a lot of figures and bookish knickknacks to have for around the house. So we are both pretty big collectors, which in itself is a hobby. And so I am fairly comfortable to continue to collect books because I just love coming through and seeing them all, and I still feel it is feasible for me to read the rest of them before I die. So I'm good with the amount. I don't have a TBR game, and I know that they are super popular, and I would probably be pushed by the algorithm a bit more if I had a TBR game. But I'm a mood reader and I can't force myself to read from a set TBR, so I never really set myself TBRs. The closest thing that I have done to a TBR this year is my I seriously need to finish this challenge, because I have a series of books that I want to finish and I would like to complete all of the series that I currently have started. But even throughout that, like, I haven't been hard on myself. If I want to read a standalone, I'll read a standalone. If I don't want to read a book for a specific series, then I'll read something else, because I just can't force myself into reading something. It just becomes immediately no fun for me anymore. So I don't set myself TBRs, and I will never set myself TBRs, to be honest. It's just not what I enjoy, and it's not how I like to read. I know that that isn't what is popular on BookTube, but it's what it is. People are going to say that I am delusional because I don't think that I have a book buying problem. I don't. I purchase large quantities of books, absolutely. However, it's not a problem because I am able to afford to do so. I am not getting myself into debt with it, and I am not purchasing out with my means. I purchase what I can afford. You know, I might be privileged enough to be able to do that, but I wouldn't consider it a problem at all. People drink and people smoke, or people get themselves into debt purchasing other things, whether it be clothes or perfume, aftershave, makeup, shoes, whatever. And I am not in debt, I am not struggling, and so I feel like therefore it is not a problem. Also, I think that I have purchased more books this year than I have done in the past, because like I said, I try to purchase as many of my books second hand as I possibly can, and we were in a pandemic for a good couple of years there where all of the charity shops and the usual used book places that I would go to purchase books were closed, and then when they did reopen, they weren't accepting donations for a while because they were obviously scared that somebody would donate something that carried the virus and then there would be an outbreak in their store, which I totally appreciate and respect. So I feel like a lot of these places had the same stock for a while and I wasn't really purchasing anything, and so this year Like, now that we have been able to get out and about, places are accepting donations again, there's almost been a refresh of stock, and so I have perhaps purchased more this year than I have done in the past couple of years, but I think that makes sense considering we were in a pandemic and I wasn't able to buy the usual quantity of books that I would buy. So although it might seem like I've purchased a lot of books this year, actually if you space it out across the past couple of years, we weren't really able to get out and about and buy books the same. I feel like it's actually an alright average. I don't think it's a problem and I don't want to adjust it. Am I crazy? Like, am I wrong? Or what? Validate me, people. I am going to tag Anne from Angie's Book Chatter, because there's even a video on my channel if I didn't talk about her. I am going to tag Jem from Bookish Gems. And, oh, who else will I tag? I'm going to tag Leandra from the TBR Zero, because I think that her opinions on this are going to be quite interesting, because she's trying to decrease her physical TBR. And I'm also going to tag Becca from Read Becca. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you are reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye! Why did I wave with 2 fingers? What was that? Bye!